Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of the What's Happening podcast. As always, you are here with myself, Spencer, your host. Not looking as dapper today.
No, we didn't even acknowledge last time. Sorry, I'm making sure my phone's silent.
We didn't.
Didn't even acknowledge how dressed up you were in the first one.
I was clean shaven.
Yeah.
Had a nice button-down shirt.
These days.
Today, no.
None of the
Which
above.
I think is quite fitting.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I'm joined, as always,
By Shelby.
my co-host, the beautiful Shelby.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
My stomach might rumble throughout this.
You're a little hungry?
Very hungry.
A little hungry?
Very hungry. So yeah, if you hear rumbling, since I have the loudest stomach known to man. But yeah, I'm okay.
I think okay is the best we can hope to be right now.
Yeah.
2020 has been an absolute roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
We are 6 months in.
Yeah, we finally hit the halfway mark.
We are in the 6th month.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
So
technically we haven't hit the halfway mark
right,
yet.
as I'm saying, we've only, I'm going to say barely hit the halfway mark because we're like basically there. And this is already what 2020 has had in store for us.
We've had a pandemic.
We have a pandemic.
Yeah, we still have it. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to believe that it's still going on with everything else. And that started here in the U.S. We don't actually technically know when it started.
Roughly like March things
but
kicked off.
March is when things, really kicked off. And now we have, I would say, the biggest social and human rights movement of our lifetime.
Oh yeah, definitely of our lifetime.
We've had the Black Lives Matter movement before, but with the recent killings and most recently the George Floyd by a cop has us raging right now.
Yeah, rightfully so.
And we both don't want this entire podcast episode to be simply about this, but we would be completely remiss not to bring it up.
It would just be
very, to
wrong.
the T of what this
literally
podcast
it's
is
called
called.
What's Happening. Yeah.
Yes, this is something that's happening. And again, both, we were talking about it beforehand, but both Shelby and I are white. We can't actually speak on the hardships that these people, the minorities, have gone through.
Right.
And specifically, yes, we are talking about Black lives. The metaphors have been beaten into you by now. And if they haven't, one more time for those of you in the back, if you have 5 children and one of them gets stung by a bee, you're not going to give all of them a Band-Aid. You're going to give one of them a Band-Aid. You're going to give the one that needs medical attention immediately the Band-Aid. That's why it is Black Lives Matter right now. They're saying Black Lives Matter because they feel as though they do not matter right now, quite clearly, and rightfully so. I could talk about this and get so upset about it, and it's just terrible what is happening. But it's super important for people to realize how important it is, for something like this. And to talk about it and to realize the injustice that's happening right now.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to talk about this, by all means, you can hit me up on Twitter, and I am more than happy to carry out a conversation about it. And I'm willing to listen and all that, but this is really important, and I'm really hoping that our generation specifically can help invoke change.
I think the most, I don't even know like what word to use, an interesting thing of this is obviously like it's upset all of us a lot. And being people who can't really relate to it and to like the struggles, we're obviously trying to find ways to support and be supportive, assist, spread information.
It's the same thing as, when God, I don't even know when it was at this point. Probably when we were in like middle school, and gay marriage was like the hottest topic in the
That
world.
was like, oh my God, that was like high school
It was,
even.
yeah,
When
yeah.
it
It was
all,
it bled into high school, but it really started coming up
yeah,
in middle school.
yeah,
And this, like, really the simplest thing you can do, you know, as a straight person, or in this case as a white person,
right,
is just like be there to support it,
right.
and be there to help out however they need help. But also don't silence their voices by spewing your own BS. Like, as important as it is, you know, sometimes I feel like and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I don't truly understand, but sometimes I feel like the simplest of retweets is enough. You don't need to retweet and also say, and then, yeah, also this. Like,
Yeah,
make sure you are highlighting the voices that need to be heard.
we need to be
Make sure
amplifying
you are,
the
yeah,
voices that
exactly.
need to
Make
be heard.
sure we are getting it from the people who are legitimately affected by this.
Right,
And, you know,
right,
make sure their stories are heard
right.
over your story of how you were also in the crowd and you also got tear gassed. That's fine. It's terrible. And that needs to be well documented 100%. But I'm starting to see it more from, I feel like, you know, white people in general. And, you know,
It's not
and then,
about us.
yeah, and then it just starts to, you know, muddy the water, in my opinion.
Right.
You know, I don't know what those people's intentions are, but I
Yeah.
can assume that a black person or a person of color in general, you know, they're the ones who are, you know, upset about this. They're the ones who
Right.
are leading this. We need to follow their lead and listen to them. And yeah, just make sure you're spreading as much awareness as possible. And that's the other thing. I feel like we can do a lot of good on social media,
Definitely.
but you know, because influencers use your platform, stuff like that. But outside of that, you have to have the difficult discussions face to face with people.
Yeah.
If you've got parents who, it's going to be tough, but if you have parents who, you know, just aren't grasping exactly what's happening, you need to have the discussion with them, and you need to talk to them about it. Grandparents,
Yeah.
it's no
Even
longer.
I mean, friend, like
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
anyone. Just
It starts with your family,
definitely.
and you work your
Yeah.
way out.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
I was gonna say that's almost been if you can take like a heartwarming. I hate to like do that, but like we've been talking to our friends about it like daily, and just to like know it can like get very overwhelming, and you can feel like how like there's so many people who are like stuck in their ways of whatever way they believe or think is right or wrong, and it can feel really overwhelming and feel like you're constantly just fighting people about it. And it's just like the conversations we've had with our friends have almost like relieved a little bit of that, because it's just like you need that reminder that like there are people on your side. You're not constantly fighting everyone, and it just gives you that little like push to keep fighting for the people who don't quite see it or don't quite understand why it's so important. Like why it's so important to distinctly say Black Lives Matter and not correct someone and say all lives matter. Like stop. Like people need to stop doing that completely. And yeah, I think especially like parents and family, I would say if they're hyper focused on the riots, you need to like kind of have a conversation. Like
They're not
just
getting. They they actually need to go on Twitter a little bit more.
yeah, they need to go on
And they
some
need to
social
see all
media.
the video of
Yeah.
peaceful protests. I'm a huge advocate for, if you are gonna get news about something, make sure you're trying to see it from different sides. So I said to you, I was like, every time I'm scrolling, you know, I make sure I stop and I listen to that police chief from Bumblefuck Nowhere, and hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
And sometimes it aggravates me because they're still not getting it. But sometimes, you know, they're saying the right things.
Right.
Whether they're following through, you know, we can't talk on that. But I try to make sure I'm hearing, you know, what the police have to say about what's going on as much as I'm, you know, listening. I mean, there's no way. I'm definitely getting drowned out with, you know, our generation and the actual protesters and stuff like that.
Right. But
Which, you know, whatever. But
if there's one thing we were taught in school, like our generation, it was you need like information can be so biased and can be so one-sided. You need to look at multiple sources,
Yep.
whether it's personal, news, whatever. And if there's another thing we've all learned as a generation, how controlled our news is,
Yeah.
and how much it is a point of just trying to grab your attention. It's like news anymore is literal clickbait, in case people don't realize that. It's like,
It's all about the shock value.
yeah.
It's all about what story is going to sell the best.
You can't just go off of one place and then have that be the truth or the whole truth.
If you are a Republican, make sure to sprinkle in some Democratic viewpoints here and there, just to see how they're thinking.
Right.
You know, it keeps you from falling too extreme to one side. Because if you keep surrounding yourself with the exact same views,
right,
you limit yourself in your
grow.
ability to change.
Yeah.
And just simply, you know, I'm not saying anybody who is Republican has to listen to Democrats and, you know, one day become Democratic, and I'm not saying any Democrat has to do the same.
Right.
But just, you know, make sure you're trying to keep up with what the other side is actually intending, because, you know, it's all fear mongering at this point. You know, Republicans won't say what it is that they actually are planning to do. They say what the Democrats are going to do. And it's the negative thing that the Democrats are going to do. And the Democrats do the same thing.
Right.
That's all it is. You know, nobody's actually, you know, getting up and saying the right thing. So just make sure you're getting it from different sides, different viewpoints. Talk to people, have the conversation, make sure everybody understands, you know, what is actually happening here. Stop throwing around statistics that you don't know what they mean. Make sure when you are looking at a graph, you're looking at the footnotes, and when the graph says, you know, of people interviewed, 99% were white people. Like, there have been statistics that have been super skewed because of whatever the population that was
tested or questioned.
Yeah, so just make sure you're understanding what the actual data is showing before going and just spreading it around.
Basically everything you learned in high school, actually apply it to the real world.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
One other thing that we want to touch on is this past Tuesday was Blackout Tuesday, and it was a day that everybody who is in support of this, basically people were asked to kind of black out your social media, not in the sense that you just step away from social media for the day, but in the sense that you step away from posting things not related to the current movement.
Right.
And take the day to, you know, educate yourself a little bit, some more. And I think
share information with others. Like, if you found useful information, or I mean, I shouldn't even say found. Like, there's
spread information, spread the petitions,
places,
spread the different things that you can donate to.
Right.
Which one of the things, the Minnesota Freedom Fund, they've been saying that they're like overwhelmed with donations at this point, so they're actually trying to get people to donate their money elsewhere, but that was one of the first places that people were donating. We'll put a link down in the description, where you can click and you can just see all the petitions, all the different resources, just information in general that is really good to just take the time, look at it, read it, you know, and just better acquaint yourself with this whole movement, so you actually understand what it is that you are or are not fighting for. Right.
So you can actually support and like, just understand to the best of your ability in whatever position you are.
And the one thing I will say about Blackout Tuesday is hopefully people actually, you know, we said keep the momentum.
Yeah.
And actually, I mean, beyond Blackout Tuesday, hopefully people keep this momentum.
Right.
And keep fighting, because we can't come out of the gate hot and just cool off and stop. You know, we got to keep making sure we're fighting for this basic human right at this point.
Right. Like, the fact that we even have to fight for this is
pretty shocking.
Pretty insane in the first place.
It's
and
2020.
It's very sad. Yeah, I don't know. It causes a lot of feelings.
But yeah, hopefully, specifically on this day, people don't stop educating themselves on how important this movement is.
And you don't have to stop sharing resources.
Keep sharing information.
Like, don't let people forget.
If you post 10 posts about yourself daily, on Twitter, if you
Yeah.
do 10 tweets about yourself daily, and ever since this movement, you've done 9 tweets about yourself and 1 tweet about Black Lives Matter, maybe keep skewing that
Right.
a little bit. You know,
Right.
get it closer to 50-50, and really just keep pushing this, because the more people who see it, you know, the more people who can get information about this, the better. And more importantly, you know, hopefully you didn't just participate in Blackout Tuesday simply because posting a blank picture on Instagram
Yeah.
with the hashtag was the easiest no-brainer in the world.
Right.
It helps in the sense that, you know, we're not clogging social media feeds with stuff, and we're trying to keep it as closely related to this as possible. But also that's not really the point.
Right.
If you've been sharing stuff I have an Instagram, and I didn't post a picture because I haven't used my Instagram since February,
Very long time ago.
you know,
Yeah.
maybe January
Yeah.
at this point. You know, I haven't been posting information there.
I would just say where you have a connection with people is your place to say something.
Yep.
I feel like I was gonna say something. No, I'm forgetting.
Don't just follow basically don't just follow this thing just because it's super easy and everybody else is.
Oh,
Truly follow it, you know. Make sure you're sharing the information, and, you know, make sure this wasn't the one contribution you did, because like I said, while one day of solidarity to clean up social media and get it focused on this one thing is great, keep doing it.
Also, I think one thing that we can take from this is it's time to stop giving a shit about, that might be too harsh, but to stop being so concerned about how people are going to react to it, because you want them to see this information, you want them to start to understand and open themselves up to it. And I know, especially on social media, there's maybe not to the average human, but like to a lot of people, there's the threat of like, great, now I'm causing like fights on social media. But it's like, I think you have to think of it more as starting a conversation, and realistically, it's everyone else's choice if they follow you or don't follow you. And it is absolutely their, I mean, I would hope people, again, open themselves up to other perspectives and other pieces of information. But I do think that fear needs to go away, and you should be there voicing what's right and what you believe in. And if, like I said, if it angers people, they have the full right to unfollow you.
Yeah, I mean, if you have any form of a platform,
Right.
And if you care more about your followers than you care about a movement like this, like, get fucking bent. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I guess maybe technically easy for us to say because
we don't have any.
But I think putting a number like that over human lives is so profoundly stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sorry, we rambled more than we intended on, but
Okay.
It's a very important.
Yes.
Very important topic.
That being said, as we said, we will put information down in the description of the YouTube video. I don't know how it works on.
I mean, I'll have some kind of resource listed in there, whether it's you have to search it or not. I'm also not sure how it works.
But yeah, just again, resources. I'm not saying you have to go in and sign every petition. I'm not saying you have to go in and donate to every single thing.
Just educate yourself.
Yep. Educate yourself. Pick a few things.
I was gonna say as simple as
specifically donations. You don't have to do. I mean, nobody has unlimited wealth to just keep giving.
Right.
You have to do however much you're comfortable with. I saw somebody donated $6, and like, you know, especially like when it's a lower amount,
right.
I normally get the feeling that that person feasibly could only give $6.
No, definitely.
And the fact that they then did it
right.
is huge.
Right.
I never think of it as that person's being a cheapskate.
No.
We all have other stuff that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
But if you can, you should. You absolutely should. And if you can, do it.
Yep.
All right. Again, that being said, We don't want to spend the entire podcast on this.
Just a quarter.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think it's going to be good for my blood pressure. I get too amped about it. And we want to talk about the other stuff that's been happening.
Yeah, what's been happening?
The What's Happening pod.
Yeah.
So Shelby,
Yeah.
amongst all this,
Yeah.
what else have we been doing?
We have been still not going outside.
Again, reminder, pandemic.
Surprise, surprise.
Still being overly cautious.
Yeah. I guess technically things have gone into like phase 1 of opening around us, but we're still hunkering down. So obviously you gotta, find ways to entertain, take in exciting things like, I don't know, Altered Carbon on Netflix.
I don't know, a TV show?
I don't know, binge watching a TV show.
Yeah.
That's been our life basically. What did we watch right before Altered Carbon? Did we watch a TV show? I know we finished Westworld. Then I thought we did something in between. Or did we not? We just kind of watched some movies.
I think we just maybe watched some movies.
Maybe you're right. I just
We watched The Town.
Yeah.
That might have been it.
Then we watched that Liam Hemsworth movie. Or Chris Hemsworth. Which one was it?
Wait, the Chris Hemsworth one?
Yeah.
That was...
Extraction.
That was before...
Westworld?
That was before Westworld.
Oh, God. I have no idea what's going on.
That was a bad movie.
That was not a good movie.
That's not what's happening.
That's not what's happening. Sorry. I was asking that because
I think Westworld was the last thing we really watched.
I just can't remember, but Westworld was obviously very good. But for some reason, Altered Carbon got me in the first 5 minutes, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking love this show. I just knew it. It's so up my alley.
Is it because you almost saw I don't even know his name. Oh my God. I think it's Joel something. Yeah. Is it because you almost saw his pee-pee?
Yep, that had to have been it.
Yeah.
I just saw all in nudity.
He's got a rockin' bod.
It's literally Westworld with just using bodies essentially. I mean, it's not, obviously. Storyline's different, whole thing's different. But
it's not an amusement park.
It's not an amusement park. But we went from they're both the idea of the advancing technology. And it's just the body has become
a vessel.
Unimportant. Yeah, it's literally just a vessel. It's just a thing that we plop something into so that we can feel new and alive and we can live longer than what was intended. And it's just it's so crazy. But I don't know, Altered Carbon though, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know why I'm comparing, but for some reason Altered Carbon just grabbed me in a way that I was all in very quickly. We're on season 2. We're a third of the way through season 2.
We just started it.
Yeah. Season 1 though, man, man.
Season 1 was so good. We got through it really fast. I kind of said it felt like, if anybody's watched Sin City, I don't know. There was just something about the writing that just kind of felt like it. And just the way it was shot wasn't it always didn't feel like it was just super clean, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes it felt but it was good because of it, you know?
I'm not sure I know
some of the writing, some of the lines that people said, but it's yeah, but that's probably how somebody would say that, or that's what they would say.
It was almost very humanistic.
But the way the line was delivered was just I don't know. It's just the writing of it.
Yeah, I guess I know what you mean.
Specifically between Kovac and Ortega, the police officer.
Yeah.
Sometimes sometimes they would just have a line in there that I was just that wasn't good writing, but it was. I think it really helped. The whole thing is quite frankly a mess. The society is a mess. Everything is and of course they're showing you everything from basically the slums, bad places to be where your life is at risk all the time, to the rich of rich who live up in the sky,
run the world, and that just everyone is dirty, everyone, and especially because you gave them the power to live forever essentially. They just ruin themselves because it's there's no consequences, because you just come back. I mean, that's literally the whole thing. I mean, wait, how much can we get into this? Because
I mean, Altered Carbon's been out for a while.
right, okay.
So.
Just making sure. I mean, oh my god, what's his name? The main guy?
Kovac?
Yeah, I literally can't remember to save my life. Kovac. He's literally like, he would be considered a borderline, like, I don't want to say terrorist, but like he was trying to destroy the society that was being built.
That's literally what they were like.
Yeah.
They kept calling him a terrorist.
Right.
They were like, oh, they're employing you.
To like destroy something. Yeah. Right. You know? But yeah, so like he literally was trying to destroy society, and then just like because he didn't like believe in it, and he literally, I mean, it was hundreds of years later, but he came back and then like was put into the society he tried to take down.
He came back because he was in jail essentially. Right.
No, but I'm saying like it almost takes away the like finality and consequences, because it's like, oh, okay, cool, like sure,
the consequence is that you have to basically go into an eternal rest.
Right.
That's not eternal. It's 200 years.
Right.
And then you come back out of it. And the whole world is different around you.
Right. It's just still like it removed all like sense of consequence. I mean, literally the season ended with like, the like rich people, like the line he said at one point, he was like, we've lived too long, like we've ruined ourselves. Like it was just like the way it was said. I was like, that's literally like the whole show is just like you're letting people live so long that they like get bored, want to try new things, like, or like screw it, everyone else does it, I'm gonna do it, like who cares, like if I die I'll just come back. Like it's like,
it's really funny because like it really speaks on like it's the huge underlying storyline is you know, social class, and like one person has this like super deep desire to be one of these people, even though she was literally like
she grew up poor, yeah.
Like literally bottom of the food chain, and she wanted to be a part of this upper class, and she was willing to literally do anything to do it. And it really speaks to like real life, because that's definitely how a lot of people are. And yeah, and you'll notice that rich people will sometimes be the ones to do some of the most, you know, effed up shit, and because they have money they can get away with it. And that's literally the entire show, is the guy's like, I'm untouchable, you know. I upload my thing every 2 hours, and so I'm always like my most up-to-date form, unless you die and then you're, you know, you lost an hour and a half or something.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, it's just very interesting, and it's constantly the battle of like, can the good people actually make a difference? And I mean, that was basically like the whole second half of the season was battling with that, like one, who's actually a good person when you've definitely done effed up shit, so like what's actually right and wrong, and then two, when you are trying to do something good, like having the people around you join in and not be selfish, and not like, I mean, Ortega's I don't know, sergeant, lieutenant, whoever's above her, she literally was like, I've protected you. Like he did some like messed up shit and he like confessed to it, but was like, I know I do bad shit and I know you're trying to do good, but like I am not going to put myself in harm's way for you trying to do the right thing.
Right.
And that's like so many people, like that constant battle of right and wrong, when like, you know, you can easily just get away with doing the wrong thing because someone will easily cover it up. It was just like, when you've fallen that far down the rabbit hole, it's just, I don't know, there were so many layers to it.
Right.
I loved that show.
So what's super interesting is we're on season 2 again. Now season 2 is a little more fresh, but it's not really going to be that huge of a spoiler. You find out that Kovac no longer has the same skin he has from season 1. Yeah,
he's changed. He mentions like it's been several times.
It's been 30 years, 25 years.
I think it was 30
since the end of season 1. So it's really interesting. He starts out in a totally different, and then his new skin is Anthony Mackie, aka Falcon from the Marvel Cinematic
I
Universe.
love it.
Yeah, really good actor. So I'm super excited to watch him in this now.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me really excited because I don't know. I mean, obviously we don't know how season 2 goes, and I don't really want to get into it too much because again, it's still fairly new.
Right.
Um,
Sorry, I literally probably cut off in the middle of you saying
yeah. So
the
Anthony
actor.
Mackie is a really great actor.
The greatest.
But yeah, so not to get too far into what is actually happening in season 2. Again, we don't know how it ends. For all we know, it ends beautifully and no more seasons afterwards. But it genuinely makes me very excited because it's almost like Doctor Who. I don't know if you've ever watched Doctor Who or if you know anything about it, but it's almost like James Bond as well. Like different actors come back and will be the Doctor or will be James Bond.
Okay.
Now, in Doctor Who, I believe they touch on the fact that like you look different, like
Okay.
he is like an actual different form, whereas James Bond they don't. But in this, it's almost like that, like you come back and you're a different form, you're a different skin and stuff like that. Makes me really excited because you can get some like really talented actors and tell like a new story based on that. Super interesting.
For real.
Definitely just like so many different paths they can go down, and they could get super super deep into this if they wanted to. It's a fairly easy show. It writes itself at points. It's detective-y type show.
Detective-y with so much technology at your fingertips, you can come up with anything you want.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a good show. Season 1 was solid.
Very good.
It wasn't the best television I've ever watched
No.
by any means, but I'm definitely excited that we started it, and
It grabs your attention.
Forward to finishing season 2.
Just all the fun things.
Yeah. Which kind of makes me want to ask you, take this world, make it reality.
Alter Carbon?
How into it are you? No, take the world we live in and make it a reality. Yes, Alter Carbon. We're living in a reality.
Are you sure?
We think. Yeah, so
How
Altered
far
Carbon.
am I into it?
Huh?
What do you mean?
Like, how into it are you? You into it? You like? Do you
Like,
wanna
would I
live
like to
forever?
live that reality?
Yeah.
Oh, do I want to live forever?
Through this reality,
Right.
Like,
I honestly don't know. I mean, there's always that like pull to live forever, because especially like you like life's
Here's the
short. You like want it to be fun.
with
But
how
also-
much technology has changed over my life. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
Thank you. But also, I mean, quite frankly, humans suck. So it would just be a revolving door of human suckness.
For sure.
So I think it would come down to you would be expecting to feel a lot of pain, just a lot of betrayal, because like, sure, like, I mean, you can, if you want to think of it in like a today sense, like you can have a friend for years of your life and then all of a sudden one day they just go down a different path and then it's like you don't even recognize them anymore. Think of how much that would happen in Alter Carbon when you live for years and there's constantly like, you're constantly faced with like, do I do the right thing or am I kind of a piece of shit to get by in life, It's just there's a lot of stakes that I can see the appeal to doing it. And I'm not saying we wouldn't just adapt to it and fall into it once we were there, but I think it would definitely create a much harder like inner battle of choosing to see the good versus the bad, which I think is already a thing, but I think it would be escalated in a setting like that.
I feel like the thing that people touch on all the time is like you hit a point in your life where it's like I've done it all, seen what I needed to see.
Yeah.
And what I was going to touch on is technology is always changing, so like things are just going to keep getting better. So
That's true.
Like, I want to see it keep getting better. So I personally, yeah.
I mean, it's cool as shit to experience that kind of stuff. Be able to go into virtual worlds and
Like,
connect with people.
I don't know. I just feel like your body takes enough wear and tear that by the time you're 80 years old, you're kind of like over it.
Yeah.
I can get that. I think. I don't know. I'm 23, so as of right now, I want to live forever.
Right.
Once my body starts hurting that much, yeah, you can probably take me out. But
Right.
It's an interesting thought. And another thing, there's another show right now called Upload, where you die and your consciousness gets uploaded, or your soul, or whatever. I don't actually know. I haven't watched it. But that's the premise of it, and you live in
Like a virtual
a
reality.
virtual world forever. That I would also do.
I don't know why I'm almost like more into that than
Yeah. Well,
Altered
altered
Carbon.
carbon, because you can, like you said, you can still feel pain and stuff like that. Whereas, like in this world, if somebody's being a dick, you just walk away.
Right.
Like it's over, done,
Right.
boom. You don't have to deal with them anymore. They
And
can't hurt you.
also-
They can't touch you.
Yeah.
know,
And I know
I
like
think.
technology is advanced in Altered Carbon, but like a virtual reality, like anything is possible.
Exactly. Like threesomes.
What's
You could just have
possible in the
unlimited
real
threesomes.
world? Okay.
No. Are they?
I don't know.
That brings us on to our next
Threesomes.
point. No, but anything else on altered carbon?
I don't think so. I think that's it. I guess since we'll probably be finishing it up before our next episode, since we release this every other week, what do you think we're gonna do next? Like, are we gonna keep going down the tech route? You know what we should do? Because we like I've now watched 2 very technologically advanced shows, and like we recently within the past year watched Black Mirror. We should finally do Bandersnatched.
Okay.
I really want to.
I thought you were going to go a totally different way. I thought you were going to be like, since we're doing a lot of technology, we should go watch Vikings.
I mean, I'll always watch that, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Or like, we should watch
Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, literally. Like, just something like
What is it? Is it Little Women? No.
Little Women.
Is that what it is? That's like the novel that like now the movie has.
Yeah, I don't know why part of me.
That
like,
sounds wrong. Little
yeah.
Women.
I think that's right.
Shit.
Pretty Woman is now like popping in my head,
Yeah,
which definitely isn't right.
not
I know
that
that's not
one.
right. But that's what now is popping in my head. And so now I'm like, yeah, I think it's.
But yeah,
Little
I don't know.
Women.
I'm excited for what's next.
Excited for what's next.
Yeah.
You love it. All right. The next point we got here,
Hell yeah.
potentially our last point for the episode.
Wait, I did forget. Do we want to talk about The Hobbit or do we not want to talk about The Hobbit? I didn't write that down. Past The Hobbit. Bye, Hobbit. See you
Bye,
later.
Hobbit. We'll talk about you another time.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Ooh, got him.
You wrote down Zoom calls taking over our lives? Question mark?
Yeah. I only mean that in a sense because I feel like maybe it's just the type of person I am. I get overwhelmed very easily if like a lot of things are scheduled in to a time and you're like trying to like fit everything else in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
like literally our week.
like literally it's just this week. It's not like this happens very often.
I know, but then we also have
I know there's like shit coming out for the next
like
3
2
weeks
weeks that we're gonna have to do a lot of stuff for, so
I know, yeah. So our weeks are just weird, and I feel like you and I are both people who we kind of like, sure, there's a lot of things to do, but we kind of enjoy having like flexibility to like do them when we wish. Like we both just really enjoy like we're both like in the mood type of people, and so it's like there needs to be flexibility. There needs to be like, oh, okay, now I'm just gonna go work on this. Now I'm gonna work on this. Like, and obviously, yeah, you can have like one scheduled thing a day, and you're like, okay, like sure, I can work around, but we both just work better without that. And nothing that I'm even about to list off is work related. It's all socially related, which is hysterical because even more so, you and I are like, yeah, we socialize here and there, and then every other point we're like working or doing something. And this kind of happened in the beginning of quarantine, and I think I even like said it like kind of overwhelmed me then that like we're used to our level of socialization, but a lot of people weren't, and so they constantly were calling and reaching out, which very much appreciated. I understand it's from like a good point, a good place, but we are just used to, we literally communicate with each other, and then maybe we talk to someone else like a couple times a week. And it turned into when quarantine hit and everyone else got bored, they came calling because they knew we had time to talk.
right.
And so we constantly were just in calls and like, which was, again, so fun. I don't want to make it seem like I don't love talking to people.
But yeah, like you said, we're very much
we're not
the
used
type of
to that.
people who are, we do our own thing.
Yeah.
We know that those people are there.
Right.
Like when we're like, I mean, we don't just like have to constantly like
Be in communication.
annoy people,
Well,
essentially.
like,
Because
we probably reach
how it
out to
feels to me.
people on like we communicate with people easily.
Daily basis.
Yeah, constantly. But it's
Literally.
like, it's short things. It's never pre-planned, long form,
Eating
dinners,
drinking milkshakes.
Yeah, that's not really our thing.
Drinking bevs. No.
So when weeks like this week happened, and again, these were happening a lot at the beginning of quarantine, and I think a lot of people were experiencing them. It just becomes a little overwhelming because like it very much messes with our normal schedule, which again is so just like absolutely not important. It just throws us off. And I think probably our friends and family think we're freaks because we're here and we're like, oh my god, so many people are reaching out to us, like we need a day to like not talk to people. But yeah, so we have weeks like this week where it's like, oh, tomorrow so and so is calling, and then and the next day we're doing a family call, and then this day we planned a party with a bunch of our friends over Zoom, and then this day, and it's just like it's weeks like this where
They're so popular.
It's just we have so many friends. It's just weeks like this where it all falls into one. That is just, again, it's just the people we are. It messes with everything else that we like to do just because we're like the free-flowing, flexible type. We're not super good at being on a regimented schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we sit here and we're like, when are we going to get everything else done? Like oh God, now we have time constraints on things and now we have this to worry about. And it's like, it's pretty stupid, but like,
yeah,
it just freaks us out for a bit. And not to mention, like you kind of said, we have like basically a 3-week schedule we have to fit because we have like shit coming up, and it's like, again, it's all just little things that we're not very good at dealing with.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I mean by that. And I think I remember I like made a comment and was like, honestly, I'm being overwhelmed by the amount of people like calling me. And I said it to someone else who doesn't think that way. And they were like, oh, well, like you're getting all these phone calls and it's like, maybe it's so hard for you. And I was just like, I'm not trying to say it like that. It's just like, it's not how I'm used to working. Like I'm used to having very little distraction, very little like shit like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, to an extrovert having to go into an introvert life,
right?
You know, they're now not getting any of their phone calls / social interactions that they need. And so then when they hear an introvert cry about it because we hate it, to an extent,
right?
You know, like we want it when we want it,
right?
We're like cats.
Yeah,
we want attention when we want attention, but as soon as you give us too much, back the F off.
I need to like sleep for like half a day if you give me too much attention.
You need to sleep for half a day no matter what.
Yeah, that's right.
But like in all seriousness, and I think that's the issue is because we aren't psychopaths and only surround ourselves with other introverts, and you know, because you have to have good balance. You have to have extroverts that pull you out, and if you're an extrovert, you need to have an introvert that sometimes pulls you in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, our extrovert friends were like, oh, it's so hard to be
I would say
so popular.
Most of our friends are extroverts, honestly. I would say maybe it's 50-50. I don't know. I think of the people we communicate with often, and like most of them are extroverts.
I think some of them are closet introverts.
You think?
Where they give off the aura that they're an extrovert,
but they heavily appreciate introvertness.
They're definitely an introvert when it comes down to brass tacks, if you know what I'm saying. He who must not be named.
Yes.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I know what you mean there.
But then that I'm kind of the same way where I'm a heavy introvert, but if you pull me out, I can be a semi-extrovert.
Right.
There are a lot of people like that.
Yeah, no, I know.
I'm interested to see after, things start to return to normal.
What communication is like?
Yeah, because we're away. I mean, we talked about it last episode. We're away from our friends.
From everyone we know.
Right. And so, like, this was a really good way to keep in touch with people you normally saw on a day. That's how a lot of people were seeing it, I should say. As, my friend who I see daily, I now can't. I will Zoom call with them.
Yeah.
But you can never see us daily.
Right.
But you can always Zoom call with us.
Right.
So I'm curious to see if people will keep utilizing these. And then people may not be feel so restricted to living in a certain place.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we all say it. We all go, oh, now more than ever, technology makes it so easy to stay in touch with our family and stuff.
It's been like this for a while now, and people just started using it.
I mean, easily a decade.
I mean,
it's been good for easily a decade.
Right. Like in high school, I mean, before quarantine, I'm trying to think like FaceTiming / like Skype or whatever. There was like one person I would Skype consistently because we both just enjoyed Facecam. And everyone else is like, why are you FaceTiming me? Like, why can't we just have like a 2-second conversation or like text or whatever? And I think there was literally one person I would consistently FaceTime or Skype or whatever I would use at the time. And then I know you and I used it like off and on like freshman year of college when we like weren't at the same school.
Off and on?
Yeah.
We used it
we used it pretty often.
Daily.
I don't know. I really like it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So I've always been like, yeah, I'll Skype or FaceTime you.
I would rather like, hey, like, I got shit to do.
Yeah.
Like, we'll text intermittently, but then boom, we can have 2 hours.
Right.
Solid conversation. Get everything out.
And you
that
get
would
a
have
bit
taken
of like
9 hours to text.
people reacting. Like you don't totally
I'm a
lose
lot
that.
funnier in text though, so
yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm a lot funnier right now. How you're intaking me.
What?
How you're intaking me. Oh no. I'm doing it in your ear.
Oh God, please stop. No, I've always been a proponent for video chatting.
I've always been a proponent for calling.
No, I'm very anti-calling.
It's the same
No,
thing,
it's not.
except you're not looking
Feels
the
way
person
more
in the
human to video chat than to call.
eye. Okay, but calling's still better than texting.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
If you like need an answer in a conversation right away.
Well, when we were in 5th, 6th grade, I don't know if you had access to Skype or not, but I didn't.
No.
I don't even know if I had a webcam.
No. I don't think anything
my
we
phone
owned had
didn't have a
webcams.
front-facing camera.
Are you kidding me? The iPod Touch didn't have a front-facing camera yet. Don't be silly.
Do not sass me. Always preferred just giving the quick call.
Right. I get that. Yeah, I don't know.
And then you could get like the dramatic like slam the phone because you're mad. Because
that used to be so good. No, the wall phone used to be good because everyone in the house heard it. You knew shit was going down.
Who were you hanging up on?
No one.
Yeah. Weirdo.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me is like, everyone's gonna go back to their busy lives, and I will never talk to people again. It'll be like, it'll turn into like once a month instead of right now it's like once every few days. Just because most of our, like I said, most of our friends just have lives, and I don't blame them.
Yeah. I mean, it's technically on us then, you know, to keep up. And,
no, definitely.
And so I guess what you're saying is you're okay with it being once a month.
I mean, not really, but I also just hate to be like a pain because I'm like, I'm the one who moved, and now I'm like, talk to me.
Yeah, cater to my needs. I moved.
But yeah, I don't know. I just, I hope people keep calling, obviously, since we are away from everyone. But it's just, yeah, it's been quite the transition. And I've said several times that quarantine has given me a social life I haven't had in a year, literally since graduating from college.
It's very true. Which it has been a year since we've graduated.
I know.
Look at us.
Look at
and we've made it. We did it.
We've made a podcast. Isn't that what everyone does who graduates college?
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Basically what we're talking about right now.
We're not talking about anything we went to school for.
No.
Good.
Soon.
No.
Okay. Basically, like what we're doing right now, how we're talking about how, like, oh, people suddenly have time to talk to people. A lot of people have started doing podcasts. And you can rely on the What's Happening pod.
To talk to you.
To stay
forever.
Around forever.
Because we don't have
we're
lives.
We're always going to have time for this shit. We're always going to find time. Whereas other people are going to go back to their daily lives of having to go to work and all that stuff. Though hopefully there's a change there as well. I'm hoping that the quarantine was a huge eye-opening experience when it comes to, you know, work, social balance and all that stuff, because there's definitely a lot of changes that can be made in that sense, to make things easier and give people more opportunities to kind of live a little more freely, and not be so tied down to a specific location. And I think it just would then lead to just the betterment of so many different places.
A lot of people will be happier.
Yeah. And, you know, like if we make sure internet is well provided everywhere, you know, you can live literally in like the middle of nowhere but still do your job. And I think that is important and can help to keep, you know, like different like small towns and stuff, like busy and like
Definitely.
bustling and stuff like that. There are definitely a lot of positives that can be taken from this.
Right.
You know, you don't necessarily have to live in the big city that you quote unquote work, because a lot of us go to work and do exactly what we could just do sitting at home.
Yeah, can we like talk about that for a second? Like, I mean, I've always dreamed of living in a city, and it's always what I wanted, but we moved to a city just to sit somewhere else to do our work.
Yeah, for the most part.
We don't even go into an office. Even before this, we barely went into an office.
Yeah. I mean, the hope is, I mean, I work a weird schedule. The hope was that at least half my week would be spent in an office.
My hope is forever to never leave my home.
But you want to live in a city.
Yeah, which right? This is the realization I'm having.
But
it's like,
this
that's
is the
kind of
realization
stupid.
that you can have a job in Boston, but you can live in whatever city you wanted to.
Right.
If this were to actually open up.
Right.
And honestly, given your job at this point, or given like what you want to do, and like if you want to pursue like the whole like freelance
right
and everything, you definitely have that opportunity. So
right. I know, it's funny to think about everything. I'm not complaining.
It sounds like
it's funny to me that like I've always said this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm very happy I like that we got the chance to do this. But it's just now very funny to me. I've moved somewhere to just sit there and work, not like in an office. And I don't want to be. I mean, like I said, I'll do like hybrid schedule or whatever. I'm just not an office person. It makes me very angry to be in an office.
Like if you go to the office and you've got like 3 meetings and like stuff like that
I'll do it.
Day, it's like great.
That feels like it was
like
worth
a productive
it.
day in the office.
If I'm going into an office,
go to your office and you sit at your desk and then you're just doing this the entire day.
I guess I shouldn't say office. I should say I'm anti-cubicle. I think those are like the death of...
cubicles are freaking hot.
No.
Yeah, they're sexy.
I think cubicles are like the death of ever. Just anything.
Oh, you just feel like...
They're the death. They're the death. They're the end. They're like a torturous little cage to my brain. I hate them. Because it just feels pointless. Because it's like a cubicle, I could just be sitting in my living room. Why am I sitting in this cubicle? Like, give me a purpose to being here. Let me communicate with other people. Like, let me, like, be a part of meetings, be a part of conversations and shit. You know?
I hear you.
Bring collaboration into the workplace.
Agreed.
Yeah. I don't know. If they had internet very well in the middle of nowhere, which we lived kind of in the middle of nowhere growing up and still don't have the best internet. It's manageable, but it's not great, especially your house. If they had that out there, would you be like, I'd go back out to the middle of nowhere if they had better internet?
I mean, I'd be okay with living in the middle of nowhere. I wouldn't go back to my middle of nowhere.
No, I don't want to go back to our middle of nowhere. But I would say
I would like to go to a middle of nowhere that's close to a somewhere that I want to be.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I want to be I personally want to be removed. I don't want to be directly in a city.
Yeah.
I don't want to be shoulder to shoulder like we are even necessarily. Right. But c'est la vie. I don't know if that works there, but I said it.
Yeah, I don't know either. My eyes have been opened being in lockdown in a city a little bit. All of my dreams have not been quite what they...
That's a depressing end to the podcast.
No, I don't mean it.
So thank you guys for listening.
No, I guess it's been a very eye-opening experience. Very interesting. And
been dealing with a lot of eye-opening experiences lately.
Definitely, which is good. Yeah, very good.
I'm hoping we've got a lot of change coming.
Hell yeah.
In a multitude of ways.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think? Think that's a wrap on episode 2?
Yeah, I guess so.
Do you want to wrap?
I don't want to wrap.
No? Okay.
Also, I'm not realizing episode 1 and episode 2 was us going, we're so far away from our friends and they call us sometimes, but sometimes when they call us too much.
Yeah.
So I can't wait for our friends to listen to this and go, okay, cool, never calling you ever again. No, that's
a really funny joke about
our
them
friends
listening
will never
to
listen to this.
All right.
No, like one of them will.
I'm sure.
One of them loves us.
One friend.
Yeah.
All right. That does it for episode 2. Maybe you want to be our friends if you're listening out there.
We
you can. You can follow us on social media.
Yeah.
At The Basement Gamer,
Yeah.
TAMR, and at Shelby Lynn Lives.
Yeah.
Everywhere. But yeah, that does it. And again, we will be putting all of the links to support the Black Lives Matter movement down below on the YouTube channel, and we'll find a place to put it for the podcast episode.
Yeah, it'll definitely be listed, whether it is like we will be listing resources in some way.
And if you don't mind, leave a nice rating for us.
Yeah.
We appreciate any feedback. If you have any stories, news, or anything, you've got 2 weeks or so to send us in the stuff.
Let us know what's happening for you.
Yeah, and we're more than happy to talk about it. Stay safe out there, everybody.
Definitely, please. Please think about the people around you, yourself. Be smart, be safe.
Let's just end it.
It's the end. We're done. Goodbye, everyone.